Wednesday night. Again, tonight we're on our last session of small groups. This is 4 of 4. And if you can remember back when George and I first started this series, we talked about small groups as Jesus was the model for making small groups. And then the second session, we talked about how we at the Trace are going to be developing small groups and what it's going to look like. And then, of course, last week we saw that Ryan and I, we went through the web page and how you can navigate, sign up, and obviously look at the directory for all the available small groups that are coming up here in January. I hope you had an opportunity to look through that. If not, just simply go to the web page and click the small groups tab, and it'll take you to where you need to go. But tonight, I just wanted to invite Kelly and Keith, two people who have gone through the small groups already. Through this last semester, and just kind of get a little testimonial of each one and see what they've been around a long time, and so I want to see what they have to say. So we'll start with the ladies first. And Kelly, if you just want to talk about, you've been through a small group and small group leadership training, and kind of give us a perspective of what you didn't know and now what you know and things like that.
When I went through, we've had a couple of small groups that we've done here at the Trace, and I guess, which are wonderful. You develop the friendships with them, and you can talk with them. But then when freedom came along, and we started, and I'll be the first to say that I was somewhat resistant to freedom because I feel like I was raised old school Church of Christ. Keith and I have talked about that. We both were from the ground up. And even when I first came to the Trace, I even thought, it's a little more than what I'm used to. But then when freedom started, I had that same feeling of, I'm not sure, but I think that this is something that I need to do. Our very first meeting, that first night, we met with you, and then we separated, divided up the men and the women. And when we got in there, the ladies, and we were talking and we sang a couple of songs, afterward, I had the heaviest feeling that I can't even describe that heavy feeling, but I cried. So obviously I was sad, overwhelmed, and then my thoughts started, I can't do this. That's what I started thinking. I can't do this. This is, I don't know why they've chosen me to do this. I don't need to be leading anybody. I need to be led myself. So all that night, I went to sleep finally, but that was the last thing on my brain. I woke up, that was the first thing on my brain. I was very just heavy. That's the only thing I know to say, is that just everything around me was heavy. Taught with one of my best girlfriends, and she felt the same way through it. And then our next meeting, we talked about that, and Amy said, that's just the enemy. That's the enemy telling you that you shouldn't be leading anyone. And I'm over there like, you don't know. Out of anybody, I don't need to be the person leading, because there's just a lot that I carry. A lot of, I guess maybe I haven't completely forgiven myself for a lot of things in my own life. So in my brain, I'm like, if I haven't forgiven myself, then I don't need to be leading anyone. And she said, don't think anybody here, and I knew all these things, but to hear somebody else say, there's nobody else here perfect. We're all buried with things that we don't want to talk about, that we might be ashamed of, or that we're just ate up with guilt over because we can't forgive ourselves. That, Jesus has already forgiven us. And she said that. Jesus has already forgiven you. You've got to forgive yourself, because it seems that you're the only one that's carrying that burden, just you. So, and maybe you talking about that to other people would open them up to talk about things themselves. So I was right in the middle of a small group before we started Freedom, and that it just happened that coming week was at my house. I was hosting it that week. So I thought, all right, this is it. So I just opened up with just a little bit about my own life growing up and stuff. And one lady that I'd never even heard her speak, but just a couple of words, but she was coming to our small groups. She just opened up, and we were in tears, all of us. Anyway, I'll talk all day. What Freedom did was broaden, it opened my heart, I guess, to not be so close-minded, to not walk that chalk line all the time, to actually listen and not be so judgmental of just because I wasn't raised that way doesn't make it wrong. And then when we went to the Freedom Conference, oh wow. Well, the first night before things even really got started, when the speaker got up and he just started, I immediately started crying. And he hadn't really said anything that had affected me yet, but just the atmosphere with everybody around, and everyone was praying. We talked about that also. The people in the back that was praying like a hedge over all of us. I think that's what I was feeling. And I wasn't sad, but I was just overwhelmed with emotion. And I think when you're overwhelmed with emotion like that, that's when you allow the Holy Spirit in you then. You're more vulnerable. And then he can come in.
Yeah. So from the beginning, obviously, a lot of questions about yourself, questions about theology, questions about, hey, I'm not that good, right?
Right.
And now, going through Freedom and the conference and the leadership training and all that, you feel like this is the time for you to lead a group, right? You say?
I do. I still don't feel, I guess, worthy is the word, but I'm working on that.
Yeah.
Freedom is teaching me that to work on that. But after just my own little small group, when people started opening up, I thought, you know what? They're all around. Everybody's just wanting, I think, to just open up and be heard and to talk about these things that maybe you're ashamed of, or that maybe the guilt is overwhelming, or just problems or a sadness in your soul that you just need to talk about with somebody. It helps to hear others. And I'm not saying that you want to hear that someone else has gone through hard times, but that's not it. It's just, I can't even describe it.
Yeah. So if you had to suggest someone, is there a particular age group or any particular to go through Freedom? Would you say, oh, that's the perfect person? Or is it, who would you suggest come through Freedom?
Ooh, wow. I saw all ages there, and I felt like all ages were getting the benefit from it. But because I'm 47, in my brain, I'm thinking, you haven't really lived and screwed up bad to your, maybe to get to your 30s, maybe 30s to 50,
to the rest,
something like that,
sure.
Yeah.
But again, because of their freedom, I saw young men and women, and they were feeling it and crying and walking up to be prayed for. So they had something that maybe it was something in their childhood. I don't think Freedom, it wants everybody, not just a certain age group. I said that age group because it plays more to me, but I saw everybody there of all ages, from young to old, and I felt like everybody I saw was getting benefit from it.
Yeah. So one last question for you is, would do it again?
Oh, absolutely. I want to do it again next year.
Yeah.
And I want to bring others with me next year.
Yeah. And I'd like to let you kind of plug your small group. So what are you doing in January? What small group are you leading?
It's myself and Kathy Morrison, and ours is called Pretty Tough. And it's about our age group, and it's a group that's for if any type of grief or struggles that you're going through, and maybe loss, or like I said with myself, trying to forgive yourself for things in the past that you've been long forgiven for. Just a variety of when you've just got that heavy soul and you just need to talk about it. That's what our group is going to be.
So what night, what time?
Wednesday nights.
Okay.
The first meeting is going to be at my house. It's going to be on Wednesday nights. It'll be every other week, and Kathy and I are going to swap up. So the first Wednesday night will be at my house. We'll have a breather the next week. The next Wednesday will be at her house. So
Yeah.
I think we decided 6 o'clock, but maybe 6:30. I can't remember that. But you can always get in touch with me.
Yeah.
I'll give you my address, my phone number, whatever. So,
Yeah, and it's also on the website too. I know that we have it listed, so if people want to go back and look at it, then get all the details from the website as well. So, all right, Keith, what about you? You tell me about your experience as far as leadership training and all that good stuff.
Well, I really, the same thing Kelly said. She actually said everything I was going to say. So I was like, hey, I know I'm done.
You're not gonna get off that easy.
Hey, I'm done, so I didn't got to say nothing. But no, that's not to step on her coattails or nothing, no, but it was the same way. I was, when I got the call to join Freedom, I was actually, I guess, struggling a little bit, just with everything, and I got the call and I said, yeah, sure, I'll give it a whirl. But then a day or two before it started and stuff, I was like, oh, if I really want to do this, And then I even tried, I want to thank George. He persevered and laid the law down to me, and I went and stuff. And even after the first class, it was like, man, this is like Chinese writing, the book was. I didn't understand a thing. You know what I'm saying? It was like, so after first class, I said, man, I need to redo this. But as the weeks went on, I learned the same thing. It was the devil trying to just keep me from doing something good, So I just kept on. All the men in the group was the biggest encouragement for me, I listened to everything they said after every class, and I just took it with me every time I left, and I just, I realized then I was praying, but I really wasn't praying the way I ought to pray. So I just, me and God just got one-on-one, and, I just asked him to come in my heart, and from there on out, every week my eyes just got open, you know what I'm saying? My eyes have been open, but they've never been open the way they have through this Freedom class, you know what I'm saying? So things started happening in my life, just different things would happen at work or at home, and I would automatically just go to what I learned, and just use that in every day, And it was just the biggest experience, for me, because I felt like I growed so much from week one to the conference. It was just unreal. My life started changing, you know what I'm saying? I looked at things a lot different, the way I handled things. I didn't get judgmental the way I was. I didn't get angry or anything like that, because I would fall back to what I've learned within the Freedom, you know what I'm saying? So it was just a big change for me. It was just like I said, my eyes was open.
We started listening to different music.
Yeah, I know. Kelly can tell you the same thing. I actually called her a time or two and say, "Look, am I the only one that I need? Am I feeling this? Or I had to get somebody else's word from it, especially from the women's side, And me and her are about the same age, and we've been friends for all our lives, our family, so. And we was experiencing the same things, it was weird, and stuff. It was it's hard to explain, and then come to the conference time, it was all, just like you said, the whole day was just like, I was somebody was trying to sidetrack us from going to that conference, and stuff. It was all day. But to get to that conference though, and to experience things that only I and God know about, and to have somebody at that conference, the first words come out of their mouth, it's just like, I can't explain it. It's just like, it's just a crazy feeling, and stuff. So
that's great.
And then for the next day also, the very next morning, that night at the motel after the conference, my mind was running 500 miles an hour, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And man, I just hit the floor and prayed, and what little I slept. And then the very next morning, for them to speak about what I was thinking about that night, that I only knew was just, I knew then that,
absolutely.
it was eye-opening, and, it was just amazing,
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's really changed
so
me,
again, same question, you do it again?
Oh, I do it again in a heartbeat.
Actually, I guess you're going to be co-leading men's freedom group with me, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so
I'm
we're
gonna be
doing-
co-leading. So
Yeah, co-leading, and
I had the paper to fill out for what, and I just couldn't fill it out for some reason. It was just blank, and I had so many ideals I thought I could do for a small group. And then that's just when I met with you, and there was a reason it was blank. So
Yeah.
I'm blessed to get to go back through it again.
Oh,
so
yeah, absolutely, man.
I'm looking
excited.
forward.
Yeah, well, so
to
we do it Thursday at 7, right?
7
Right here
o'clock.
at the church, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
and
right.
it's just for men, and of course it's also on our webpage as far as finding that out. We have women's freedom and men's freedom, and we have, I don't know, I think we have about 23 or 24 small groups listed there. So any night of the week, any day of the week too, the different times and stuff like that. I just suggest that we look that over. But truly, I want to thank you guys for coming and giving me some time and all that stuff. It's just been again amazing to see you both and just to get to know you as I have. It's just been such a blessing for me too. Absolutely. So yeah, absolutely. So with that being said, I just want to thank everybody that's tuned in and went and looked at the website. Again, if you have any questions whatsoever, please feel free to email me. That's the tracesmallgroups@gmail.com. And I promise I'll get back to you as soon as I possibly can. But or pick up the phone and call the church, and they'll get a hold of me and all that good stuff. So I just wanted to thank you both, and we'll just call it a night. Everyone have a blessed night.